Well, good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round number 3 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships here at beautiful Geelong. For Hornet Property Services here this weekend, and we've got boats heading out onto the water this morning for the first of 3 races that we have today. 1 o'clock, of course, start for our Super Sports racing. Then we've got our Super Boat and then a second Super Sport race. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock are the start times for all 3 events. So Super Sports boats heading out there now. So we've got the Super V85 boats, the Gone Mental, the Gone Mental, which Sam Lisley had a fantastic round at round number 1 in Wyndham Harbour. We've also got, unfortunately, and I'm hearing the word on the street that Donzi won't be running. So, and Sam, Scott Portier, unfortunately, he's come out from the US to drive that boat, and the supercharged engine in that boat has actually, looks like it's pumped out a head gasket, which is very, very disappointing that boat won't be out there. I also have Adrian Bishop and Lockie Panham on my list, but I haven't seen the Avenger F1. Not sure if that's going to be running either. But we also have Andrew Hurd in Bernico Racing. So that's going to be a very interesting class. The Super Sports 85 category boats we will have will be Special Edition, Mark the Russian, Colonel Racing, current championship leaders. So the 2 boats running in that class. And then we have our Super Sports 65 category. So we've got the Nutcase, the Villain, the Valentis, the Cardiac Arrest, and the Risky. So Cardiac Arrest, I believe, has a substitution in the boat as well, and I'll just get that confirmed for you. But I think Mr. Hun 42, Greg, will be stepping in that boat, but I'm not sure who he's actually replacing, whether it's Charlie or Peter. So I'll try and get that confirmed for you. But we're sending the boats out on the parade lap now. Very, very smooth conditions greeting our competitors here today. I might just grab Russell Embleton while he's there. All right, and it's Greg Walters. Thank you, Russell. Greg Walters subbing in there for Peter Conglandro. So, Peter, I'm not sure what the issue is there. Unfortunately, not able to race. So big shout out to everybody here on site. We've got a lot of people here. Can you all hear us okay? Those of you who are here, g'day mate, you having a good time? Going to see some fast boats, buddy. But we are live streaming, so we're live on GP Hydro live stream. We're AOPC, OSC, Bisho Media, and also don't forget on YouTube. So big shout out to everybody that's tuning in at home. Big thank you to Scotty and the team at GP Hydro live streaming. I've got Neil and Paulie on cameras doing a beautiful job. And, of course, our race director, Russell Embleton, just running the show in race control here. So it should be an interesting weekend. We'll see some fast pace, very, very smooth water. We could hold a barefoot water skiing tournament on Corio Bay here at the moment. Big shout out to the City Council here and Geelong just in general. They always welcome us with open arms. We love coming here. They love having us here. And a more beautiful place to go powerboat racing you could not ask for. Is absolutely stunning. With the Geelong foreshore in the background here, the Ferris wheel and the baths. It's just such a spectacular place. Cunningham Pier in the background as well. And just looking, well, for those of you watching at home, probably looks pretty grey and overcast. That's because it is. It's quite a dull day here, but certainly warm enough. Probably up around 30 degrees, or it's making its way up to 30 odd degrees. So we send the boats out on a parade lap. They'll do a full lap of the course. It's quite a tricky course here at Corio Bay, a little bit different to what the championship normally runs. This is round number 3. Round number 1 was held late last year, actually in 24 at Lake Macquarie. Round number 2 about a month ago at Wyndham Harbour, just across the bay, which which was a fantastic event. Very, very windy, very, very rough. And now we've got the absolute opposite here at round number 3 here on Corio Bay at Geelong. This particular track, as I was saying, quite tricky track. It's got a right-hand dog leg in it across the back of the course. And for those of you that love the V8 supercars, our old mate Todd Kelly and Mason Kelly are out on the course watching. So a big shout out to a couple of my old mates out there. It's going to be an exciting day because we've got some big boats running in the next race, which will be running at 2 o'clock. And we've got the addition of global racing coming to the championship, which is absolutely fantastic. Big shout out to White Pointer Boats, our start boat here this weekend. It's got the lazy 900 horsepower worth of V8 Mercuries hanging off the back, so it should be able to keep up with the race boats okay. So thank you to the White Pointer team. That's the big black machine. That's our start boat. You can see the white flag. Mark the Russian and his partner Mel in the special edition, the Coodercraft with the Maritimo V8 race engine. On the outside there, beautiful the Colonel machine. Looking very nice with Mick Kelly and Jason Kelly. Then you got Sam Livesley in the Gone Mental, and on the outside of him it's Andrew Hurd in the Moonshot Bernico. And then our 65 boats all lined up. We'll go from the inside out. We've got Risky, Cardiac Arrest, Nutcase and Valentis, and you're going to see some great racing between those 4 boats. Limited to 65 miles an hour, so it's going to be very tricky for those boys in these smooth conditions to try and keep those boats under that speed cap. So we certainly won't know who's won technically until we see race results at the end of the day, but we'll just call it as we see it on the course, as we always do. So the Super V85, which is a category designed for water ski race boats effectively. We've got the Gone Mental out there. I see Sapphire on our schematic there, but Sapphire not running here today, unfortunately. So it looks like it's only the 2 in actual fact, as we've lost Donzi. I'm not sure that Avenger F1 was running. They may be running tomorrow. We'll check on that for you. But great to see Andrew Hurd running solo in the Bernico Racing, or as I like to call it, Lester always calls his boats Moonshot. I reckon it's the coolest name in powerboat racing. I asked him if I can call it Moonshot this weekend. He said I can. So the 2 ski race boats that we do have there are both running one up, Sam Livesley and Andrew Hurd. It's going to be an interesting hit out for these boys as we send them up into the top end of the course. So you can actually see now as we follow them through and we look at Moonshot just going up. It's gone through the right-hand dog leg and up into the top end of the course there. White Pointer start boat bringing him up into the milling area now. Great to have a nice little spectator fleet out there as well. Plenty of people enjoying the beautiful Corio Bay here this morning for round number 3 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. So these are the smaller classes that are running now in race number 1. The next race, the big boys are going to come out to play. So, and we've got some very, very quick Supercat outboards, and we've also got 3 Supercat Extremes, which is fantastic. We've got the 222 Racing, and fascinating news there, and devastating news to a certain degree, but pretty good for one bloke, is that unfortunately Darren Nicholson, the main man of 222 Racing, his plane flight was delayed and he hasn't made it here. So very, very experienced racer Paul Folds is stepping into the cockpit of that boat and hasn't driven it before. So they're certainly going to have to be a little bit careful as we watch boats come down the front straight away, and the white flag drops and we are racing, ladies and gentlemen, in round number 3, race number 1 of the Offshore Superboat Championships here for 2025. And this is our Super Sports 85 and our Super V85 boats, all charging down the front straight away into turn number 1. So we've got 2 classes effectively coming through here, and Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson in the special edition pull a little bit of a lead there over the Colonel. Sam Livesley gets a good break there in well. And first ever race start there for Andrew Hurd in the Moonshot as he tips it up into turn number 1. Runs around the outside, just running that safe line. So Andrew will just be feeling his way through this boat as they fire up into the dogleg, and we watch our Supersport 65 boats now coming down. You see Cunningham Pier in the background. And a very, very nice start there for the Nutcase machine. Harry Backer and Shane Payton round the outside, the Valentis with the Pack boys, Paddy and Michael Pack. Risky on the inside. Fantastic to have Mark, Captain Risky Swain, and his partner Laura doing navigating duties in that boat, and Greg Walters and Charlie Diorio in the cardiac arrest. You could throw a blanket over those 3 boats, but the Nutcase has got a good break on them as they take off. Watching boats go up through the dogleg now, or down through the bottom turn. And that's our Supersport 65 focusing in there, Captain Risky. Just getting rounded up around the outside there by the cardiac arrest. So good battle's going to happen between these two. 30-minute race, this one. Brought to you by Hornet Property Services. So up through the MSC Signs dogleg. And it's the Gone Mental having a battle. Both these boats running 2 separate classes. But having said that, it doesn't matter because I think they're actually going head-to-head. They don't want either of them beating each other. So Mark and Mel in the special edition on the inside. Sam Livesley in the Gone Mental. So you've got basically a 26, 27-foot Coodercraft up against a 21-foot Force hull. The Force would have a lot more horsepower, but these guys, don't forget, they're limited to 85 miles an hour. So they are not allowed to exceed that limit, or they end up having a big problem. Oh, what's going on here? Colonel's got a problem. I think Colonel's, if we just get our guys to pan back to the Colonel coming to a stop. Oh, this is devastating for their championship. Moonshot goes through, and unfortunately there for the Kelly boys, the Colonel Racing, Mick and Jason, that beautiful 24-foot skater catamaran comes to a grinding halt in the Motec front straightaway. And you see the boys getting up out of the cockpit there as we watch Mark the Russian, who will be absolutely just pushing on now. Championship situation for these guys at the moment is, as I just checked, the Colonel is the current leader at 190 points. 135 is what Special Edition's sitting on, so a win here would see them up to 170, so to get them very, very close to putting that boat back into the lead of the championship. So the Colonel boys really want to try and at least get this boat home, and I've got them just stopped out as we watch the Nutcase just come down through the front straightaway, and they're doing a fantastic job leading this event at the moment in the Super Sports 65 category. Back to Valentis. Now we're focusing in back on the Gone Mental Special Edition. Sort of a pseudo battle, this one. These guys aren't actually running in the same category. Having said that, I think the egos will become involved. Great to have this boat back on the circuit. It's a Spectre hull running the 3-litre Mercury Optimax. It's the Captain Risky machine with Mark and Laura Swain. And Paddy and Michael Pack there with the Valentis going up through the dogleg. Now we focus in on this battle at the head of the pack. And it's Sam Livesley. He has stuffed that boat up the inside. And the Special Edition now runs to the outside. So Livesley wants to try and win this one outright at the moment. turbo in a 21-foot boat, making around about 16 to 1700 horsepower. The boat on the outside, which is a whole lot louder because it doesn't have turbochargers on, it's the special edition carburetted big block. Running into second place here is Andrew Hurd in the Moonshot Bernico. Cruising through in his very first ever race. So let's run through our race order. At the moment we've got Special Edition leading the Super Sports 85. However, Gone Mental has gone to the outright lead. They're running the Super V85 category. Bernico Racing running into third place and second in class. And then leader of the Super Sport 65 is a nutcase back to Valentis. Cardiac Arrest, Risky, and unfortunately Colonel Racing. I'll just see if we can get the boys to focus in on Colonel Racing, because it looks to me like they might be getting that boat going again. And get one of the boys to just focus in on that for a second, but there we go. Looks like, yeah, there's not much action going on there, so these guys might be heading back to the pits, unfortunately. That is a real shame. Real shame for Colonel, who are the current leaders. They can afford to drop this race, but it's going to close that points gap up absolutely substantially, back to about 20 points. $30 points for a win, so it certainly puts anyone else within striking distance as we focus now on Nutcase coming down. Beautiful Cunningham Pier in the background there. So Razorcraft Boats, Nutcase leading their category. Now Sam Lisley as we watch him charge through and to the Special Edition. The Special Edition leading the Super Sport 85 category. Mark the Russian, his partner Mel Nelson, Cardiac Arrest there with Greggy Walters on board, and Charlie Diorio far up the front straight away. Greg has been a substitution into this boat, so I think he's doing a very nice job. Focusing in, Captain Risky now, having a little bit of a lonely run out there at the moment. And then the Moonshot ticks off another lap. Round about half race distance at the moment. So big shout out to all our wonderful sponsors here, in particular series sponsor Hornet Property Services. Fantastic to have them on board as we're watching boats go up through the MSC Signs dogleg. And a big shout out to Motec as well, one of our wonderful sponsors here this weekend. So very smooth conditions here at the moment, not presenting too many problems, but the real issue you have in these speed restricted classes is once one boat gets a little bit of a break, it's very, very tough for the other boats to try and overhaul them. But Sam Lisley did a beautiful job to stick that Gone Mental boat up the inside of the Special Edition, and make no mistake, even though they're racing in separate categories, those boys will be keen to knock each other off. And Sam Lisley, I'm sure he's a racer, and he will want to come home and take an outright win in this race. Watch him come down the front straight away now. So F21 Force Hull tips in to the port turn onto Motec straight away. And Lisley doing a nice job. He just needs to keep it clean from here on in. He's just over half race distance. Special Editions, they're leading their class. with over 1,500 horsepower. They're always going to be a little bit quicker than the bigger boat with less horsepower. Focusing in now on our race leader in the Supersport 65, the Nutcase, the Razorcraft machine there. They're having a little bit of a ding-dong battle with the boat that's just off their starboard rear corner, which is the Valentis. Paddy and Michael Pack, the two brothers, they've had a fantastic, the current championship leaders, or current championship winners, I should say. Unfortunately, they're not running the whole championship, these guys, but if they were, they'd actually be sitting at top of the table, but we're not going to see them later on in the season, unfortunately. Captain Risky now picking up on them as they come down. Beautiful Geelong foreshore and Cunningham Pier in the background as they come into Motec straight away. Up into the NSC Signs dogleg for Hornet Property Services go the rest of the field as Risky goes down this front straightaway here. So a bit going on now as a little bit more lap traffic starts to happen there. The Gone Mental starting to round up some of these Supersport 65 boats. So it's all a game of cat and mouse out here at the moment. Lots going on, some very different lines being taken here as I cast my eye across. I don't know if the boys can pick up, but way out Cunningham Pier way, you've got two different lines here. You've got Sam Livesley, who's running hard on the pins in the Gone Mental. And then if we pan back to the special edition, Mark the Russian, he is travelling about 10 kilometres further, running that very, very wide line just past the Royal Geelong Yacht Club there, but going from about pole 27 bang into pole 1 there, so really trying to clear off the corners there. I'm not 100% sure as a tactic that's going to buy him any time. When you run wide like that, it does mean you can maintain a little bit more momentum in your corner speed, which is the only place you can really make up speed in these particular races, given that these boats are limited to 85 miles an hour. So it's all about corner speed and maintaining that top end speed, which is certainly what Mark the Russian and Mel Nelson are trying to do at the moment. Andrew Hurd now going through. This is the very first ever race in this beautiful big Bernico. The Bernico is a Belgium-built boat built by Nico Bertels out of Belgium. It's running a twin Lysome supercharged Mercruiser racing engine through a Mercury number 6 stern drive. Very, very nice bit of kit. So if we have a look at race order at the moment, leading the Supersport 85 is Special Edition. Gone Mental is leading the Super V85. Bernico Racing running second spot in Super V85. And then our Super Sport 65 boats, we've got Nutcase leading back to Valentis. Cardiac Arrest in fourth, Risky in fifth. And unfortunately, we've seen the Colonel Racing heading back to the pits with the Kelly boys and a little bit of work to do. Focusing on Cardiac Arrest now as they come down the Motec front straightaway. Charlie and Greggy Walter doing a great job. Greg was a last minute substitution this morning. He was pretty quick to get the shirt on, don't worry about that. Greg unfortunately damaged his boat Hun 74 at the very, very rough round number 2 Wyndham Harbour about a month ago. So his boat is written off unfortunately, so he'll be looking for a new boat, but in the meantime he's managed to slide into that Cardiac Arrest machine, so great stuff for him. Sam Livesley comes through and he's got a very big gap now. He is outright leader by quite some time. Risky now coming through, and then we pan back Going into the Motec front straight away, the special edition. Melanie Nelson there doing navigating duties. And Mark the Russian. He calls himself Mark the Russian because he can't pronounce his own surname. You got no hope of me doing it. So they're doing a good job at the moment. They just need to bring that boat home now, do nothing silly, and they'll pick up some big points and encroach into that lead in the championship that the Colonel has. If the Colonel's had a terminal issue and the special edition can go all weekend, that'll put him in the front of the championship, but a lot's got to happen before you can call that one. Bernico now, Moonshot Bernico Racing with Andrew Hurd doing it nicely. These boats are designed for European style water ski racing. You can see the boat runs very flat, very wet, and they're designed for very rough conditions. So not the conditions that the big Bernico is really designed for out here today. A little bit smooth for that boat. Well, I tell you what, Neil or Paul, if we cast our eye across to the other way, Paul, to the marina, we can see Colonel Racing comes back out onto the race course. And at the moment we've got a pleasure boat just encroaching onto our course at the moment, so hopefully someone can go out and pick them up. But the Colonel, ladies and gentlemen, is back out onto the course, so it must have been a fairly minor issue. They've been able to change it. No, the boat has stopped again. Oh, what a shame. Team Colonel Racing. They're trying to get points because they don't want this gap to open up, but I'm just watching it now as we watch Sam Livesley go through, but the Colonel gets back up and going again. So there they are, they're back up and going, so I don't know what happened there. So they're back in the hunt. They really would like a race. If trace, that'll mean that the gap won't close up the way it could have had they had a DNF. So it's all about the championship here at the moment for the Colonel. As we watch all our boats go down the Motec front straight away and then head for the MSC Signs dogleg. And for Hornet Property Services, the Colonel just comes out of MS Signs dogleg there, and they head up the back straight as we pick up Risky now as they go through. That boat wouldn't really be loving these conditions. It's, as you can see, it's a big, very sharp V boat designed for very rough water. And unfortunately for them at the moment, all they've got is absolute glass out there. So just watching up through the MSC Signs dogleg, the special edition gets up and goes through. And then the Razorcraft, the Nutcase, doing a beautiful job there with Harry Backer and Shane Payton. Okay, Sam Livesley there. He's halfway down the back straight. Now we focus in on the Colonel that are back up and going again. So Jason and Mick Kelly, they'll be absolutely devastated with this little problem that's really caused them great pain for their championship aspirations. But if they can bring the boat home in second place, that's certainly going to not be the disaster that it could have been. Sam Livesley doing a beautiful job in this Gone Mental machine as he goes through and ticks off another lap. Okay, so race winding down now. Probably got around about 3 to 5 minutes left to run in this event. As we watch Mark and Mel go through in the special edition. They are currently leading the Supersports 85. There's the boat that's leading the Supersports 65, which is the Nutcase. And that's the Razorcraft machine, and they're doing a very, very nice job. Harry Boatman Backer and Shane Payton. And then heading now for the MSC Signs Dogleg is the special edition. Front straight away now, and it's cardiac arrest. So Greggy Walters and Charlie Oreo doing a nice job there as well. And up through the MSC Signs Dogleg goes the special edition. Moonshot, Bernico Racing. Down the Motec front straight away now. The big twin supercharged Mercruiser are sounding absolutely beautiful as it ploughs its way through. And fantastic to have Lester Fremantle and his team here, and of course driving that particular rig here this weekend, Andrew Hurd. Doing a nice job. Okay, so we've got 22 minutes gone in this race. Now 23 minutes coming up to now. So 23 minutes, still got 7 minutes left to run. Colonel goes through. These boys will be chomping at the bit now. Gone Mental, outright leader. Sam Livesley starting to take a couple of hits. Ooh, throws it right up on its starboard chine there. He'll have to get busy on the steering wheel now. And the big Cootercraft comes storming down through the bottom turn into Motec straight away. Mark the Russian. Hard on the throttles now as he fires down. Mel Nelson hanging on. She said she nearly got thrown out of the boat a couple of times at Wyndham Harbour around number 2. Very, very rough conditions. By contrast today, they've got absolute glass on their hands here at beautiful Corio Bay. So Nutcase now just coming down through the bottom turn here into Motec straight away. It's a Razorcraft. It's one of the smaller boats in this Supersport 65 category. And Valentis right behind them. So there is absolutely nothing in this 65 race at the moment. And the Pack boys, Michael and Paddy Pack, coming down Motec front straight here and just trying to find their way around the Nutcase machine. You can see the gap there. Moonshot Bernico as we focus back in now on the Nutcase as they run through that top turn and make a little bit of ground due to the virtue of being on the inside line. But the Pack boys are really, really trying to push hard here and trying to make some ground. They've got about 5 minutes left to run. Under 5 minutes in actual fact, 4.5 minutes coming up. Focusing in on Colonel now as they come down the back chute into Motec straight away. They've got Sam Livesley on the inside there and the Gone Mental. So they're trying to make ground up here now. Both these boats are limited to 85 miles an hour, so this is actually going to cause the Colonel a little bit of pain having Sam on their inside. Having said that, they have lost laps and laps. So second place or a breakdown for Special Edition is really all they can hope for, these boys, at the moment. But the good news is if they can come home with a finish, the second place picks them up 30 points. So the gap will only close by 5 points back to the Special Edition. So Mark the Russian would have been hoping that they didn't get that boat going and just so they could try and close that gap a bit. But at the moment, the Colonel boys have done a great job. As we watch Risky just come down the Motec front straightaway here. Mark and Laura Swain getting it done beautifully. The Spectres just had a pretty fresh refit and boat looking fantastic. As I said earlier, it's a seriously good rough water boat, and they actually had a bit of a spill here at Geelong last time on very similar conditions to what we've got today, and the boat just hooked up in a corner going quick and actually barrel rolled. So they'll be a little bit tentative, I think, in the Risky team, maybe not taking the risks that Risky would normally take. As we watch the Colonel now go up through the top, and now we focus in on Moonshot. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to run in this race before we see a checkered flag. A race leader currently Sam in Super V85. It's the Moonshot Bernico Racing with Andrew Hurd behind the wheel. Nutcase just going into the Motec front straight away. Now we're picking up wisely. So outright leader at the moment. Still got 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to run in this race. So he's got another couple of laps to do. Okay, just had confirmation. Gone Mental heads off on their last lap as we watch Colonel Racing come through behind him. So Sam Livesley's got one to go. He's leading this event in the Gone Mental. Cardiac Arrest comes through, and they'll set off on their final lap as well. Greggy Walters and Charlie Diorio. So race order at the moment, outright is Gone Mental, Special Edition, Bernico Racing, Nutcase, Valentis, Cardiac Arrest, Risky and Colonel Racing. So second outright and first in their class at the moment is Mel Nelson and Mark the Russian in the Special Edition. Doing a beautiful job. Need to keep it together for one more lap and they will get the job done here at Corio Bay for race number 1. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, at 2 p.m. we have the big boys coming out to play. We've got our Supercat Extreme and Supercat outboard boats ready to rock and roll here on beautiful Corio Bay. And we've got some very, very interesting battles. Supercat outboard, we've got 2 boats sitting on equal points in the championship at the moment in the Mantis and the Sting, so it is going to be an absolute fist fight out here this afternoon. So the Risky machine looking beautiful as it comes down the front straightaway. Into the Motec front straight we go. It's Mark and Laura Swain in the Captain Risky. They set off on their final lap. Andrew Hurd, he'll set off on his final lap in the Moonshot Bernico as well. So, Gone Mental, Sam Livesley. The F21 Force Hull, built by Rod Bickerton out there in New South Wales on the Hawkesbury River. Twin turbo engine maintained by Tony Dempster out of Bendigo, Victoria. Sam, new to powerboat racing, is an old hand at car racing. He'll come through. This is going to be an outright win for the Gone Mental. Outright, and wins a Super V85. And a race leader and race winner will be the Gone Mentor, taking the win in Supersport 65. On the outside of them, the Colonel comes through to pick up second place. Supersport 85, Valentis will be second place in Supersport 65. So great racing there. Nutcase takes the win. The Razorcraft, Harry the Boatman Backer, and Shane Payton. And your race winner, ladies and gentlemen, of the Supersports 85 will be Mark the Russian and Melody Nelson in the special edition. The Cootercraft takes the win and steals a nice little 5 points off the Colonel. So running through here, we've got third place will be Cardiac Arrest in the Supersport 65. Charlie Diorio and Greg Walters. Great drive from them and onto the podium. Good effort for a driver that's literally stepped into that boat this morning. So a few more boats left on the course as we watch. I'm just looking at the back chute here. This is going to be Andrew Hurd bringing the Moonshot Bernico through for second place in the Super V85 in his first ever race. Well done, Andrew. Well done, Lester. Great to have him here, and that boat will just get stronger and stronger. They've got another race later this afternoon, these boys, at 3 o'clock. So back to the pits now for all these guys to get these boats sorted and turned around. But Sam Lisley, he'll be absolutely ecstatic with an outright win there in the Super V85 category, and also overall he'll be very, very happy with that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that is it for race number one. We've only got around about 20 minutes till race number two, where the big boats come out. Supercat Extreme and Supercat Outboard, as we see Risky coming through there. And Risky will pick up fourth place in the Supersport 65 category. So good effort there for Mark and Laura Swain, putting that boat back on the water last minute as well. So really good to see those guys back out on the water. Ripping team, great people, great boat, and Risky brings it home. That's it for our lower speed categories, ladies and gentlemen, but stick around because in approximately 20 minutes time we've got the big boys coming out for the Hornet Property Services round number 3 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships, as we see Nutcase coming through and Valentis coming through. So I'm not sure whether they picked up the checkered flag on the previous lap, because they did have Sam Lisley right there with them with the Gone Mental. So we'll see what happens there. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hornet Property Services Australian Offshore Superboat Championships here for 2025. Beautiful Corio Bay. We'll be back with more racing in approximately 17 minutes.